Horizon Zero Dawn is an awesome game filled with beautiful post-apocalyptic scenery and of course a variety of dangerous machines. The Tallneck is one of the most iconic, and Lego did a great job of turning it into a set. In fact, I liked it so much that I also built a Thunderjaw MOC designed by Hachiroku and added some desert scenery of my own. Recently, I finally started playing the sequel, Horizon Forbidden West, and it reignited my desire to build some more Lego machines. So today I'll be adding a Sawtooth and a Stormbird to my Horizon collection. Now the Lego Tallneck is definitely not minifig scale, but I like the size of it, and I think it still works alright with the Aloy minifig. The Thunderjaw MOC I did last time was at a similar scale, so that's what I plan on continuing to use. Although creature building isn't really in my MOC wheelhouse, so I decided to buy some instructions off Brickable from a creator called Kaelfros. He's designed several machines and also tries to stay in that Tallneck / slightly smaller than minifig scale that I'm looking for. I definitely think his instructions are more expensive than they should be, but they were well made and I'm happy with the end result. The Sawtooth has 377 pieces and the Stormbird 950, and they would run you about $120 on Bricklink for all the parts. However, Webrick actually wanted to collab on this video, so they sent me these parts to check out and share with y'all. I've used Webrick numerous times and it's definitely an easy place to get parts for your MOCs. Just upload your wanted list and they select them all for you. You can even order parts by the kilo like I did for the hills and trees in my Lego city. The parts for these two machines only cost $60 and actually had a little lower shipping than the Bricklink sellers, so in total less than half the cost. The only parts Webrick didn't have were a couple of slope pieces and the olive dino tails used for the grass. But enough about that, let's build some machines. First, the Sawtooth. This mid-size combat machine, designed after a saber-toothed cat, was built to protect the more docile terraforming machines from human predators. It's not the hardest machine to fight, but it is fierce and definitely not a walk in the park when you come across one. The base is built like the Tallneck set, with sections of bricks laid sideways in an oval with a black edge. The terrain is built on top, and in this case is a forest terrain. Now, my more memorable Sawtooth battles were in snowy areas, but 6 of the 11 Sawtooth sites are in forest or green areas, so I guess it's a fine choice. There's a little rock mound, a few flowers, some of that iconic stealth grass, and a tan stick tree thing. I should point out a slight problem with color variation in the dark tan pieces here. One looks a little too pink, and the other too green. Oftentimes tan pieces in alt brands come in 2 different shades, but this is the first time I've seen a variation with dark tan. Although it's not too big of a deal here, as most of them get covered anyway. The machine itself starts with the core body, with a good use of a wheel piece for the skinnier back half. The neck and head sections snap on with ball joints, allowing some good range of motion. And I think the head detailing is really well done on this MOC, with the binocular eyes and minifig hands for the fangs. It definitely looks like a saber-toothed cat to me. The front legs are beefy and look powerful, and have 2 ball joints which allow for good posing. And it uses some wedge tiles for its big claws. The rear legs are smaller and have little feet for some reason. Then there's its yellow butt, or power cell. And finally its communication array that slide on to the 2 dagger pieces. The directions have short pieces of yellow tubing at the top of the array, but that wasn't in the parts list and I don't know where to find it, so I just added a yellow tile on each one for the yellow tips. I was pretty happy with this machine, except for its tiny rear feet. This is after a saber-toothed cat, not a house cat, so to fix that I just added some more black wedge tiles like the front feet had on a bar plate. There, that's much better. It was a little tricky to get him posed, but once I did, I think he looks great. I like his right paw up on the rock and his head a little tilted like he's searching for Aloy. If we put her behind the grass here, we can see that it is indeed a pretty good scale. Before we compare the Sawtooth with the other machines, first let's build the Stormbird. These large aerial combat machines are some of the biggest machines in the game. They were originally designed as atmosphere detoxifiers, but were later turned into combat machines to stop human hunters. The base starts similar with an oval, but then it gets a fairly substantial build for some snowy rocks. There are a decent amount of pieces in the base, and I like how it uses different slopes and has a couple of big rock sections connected at angles with ball and socket joints. The first Stormbird you come across in the game is actually in the desert, but if you were anything like me, you just snuck past it and continued on towards Meridian. So the first one I fought I think was up in the mountains north of Pitchcliff, which is exactly the snowy setting that this MOC has. I like the wintry piece of grass, and I might add another one. I'm not sure whether the red mug references something in the game I forgot about, or if it's just a Lego reference. The Stormbird is built together in sections starting with the body. The yellow breast area is its lightning gun, which shoots all that annoying lightning at you. Then the bottom section looks great, with several hinge parts for the tail feathers. This gray slope was supposed to be sand blue, but Webrick didn't have that color, so I just switched it. I think it works fine, as you don't really see it in the end anyway. I think the orange slope is its blaze canister. Next we have the bird's 2 skinny legs with massive claws on each of them. The feet weren't staying attached to the legs for me, and it turns out that the 3-length Technic pins from Webrick just didn't quite have enough friction in the axle end to hold the bar piece. I'm not even sure if this is a legal technique or not, but switching the pins out for Lego pieces ended up solving the issue. Also, I accidentally put the legs on opposite sides here, which definitely gave me problems when trying to connect it to the rock. Next we have the giant wings. These look great and are pretty detailed with hinged feathers and the 3 engines on each wing. Maybe they could have been a little thicker, but I think they're fine. The neck has the 2 frost canisters exposed, and the head section looks really great with the red eyes and the beak. But I had such a hard time getting this thing positioned on the rock base. Even after switching the legs to the correct sides, switching those pins to Lego parts, and assembling it on the rock one section at a time like the instructions show, it was a big pain. Pieces kept falling off and the body kept falling over and over and over. The tail section is supposed to go in this crack in the rock to support it, but it really doesn't support it much. But finally, after a lot of effort, I got it just right, and it indeed looks awesome. With its wings arched out and its tail feathers opened up, it looks like it's just landing or maybe just taking off. Either way, probably about to wreak havoc on you. It seems to be staying put pretty well now that it's in the right position, but I definitely don't want to touch it. The only thing that really bugs me is that the top engine on each wing sticks out because it doesn't have enough clearance. I think if I remove the bottom half of the engine, it might look better, but let me know what you think. In the end, it was worth the struggle because the Stormbird looks great, but definitely be warned that it's going to take some work getting it to stay in place. Now that we have our 2 new machines built, let's compare them to the other 2. Alright, this is turning out to be a pretty good collection. I think Kaelfros did a good job with the design of the Stormbird and Sawtooth. They both look great and even include some specific machine components from the game. They're also both at a good scale compared to the Tallneck and Thunderjaw. The Stormbird is about the same size as the Thunderjaw, which is accurate, and the Sawtooth comes up to about the belly of the Thunderjaw, which is also pretty close to its size in the game. If you're okay with that price, I think Kaelfros' instructions are a pretty good option for these machines. And thanks again to Webrick for sending us some parts to extend our Horizon machine collection. Now, I'm not necessarily planning on building every machine from the game, but this video definitely makes me want to build a few more. I'm thinking I should do some of the smaller ones like Striders, Chargers, Grazers, and maybe even a Corruptor. But let me know what you think, as I need to head back into the Forbidden West and discover even more machines. That's all I got. Hope you have a safe day in the apocalypse.